Hey guys, welcome back to Surveying with Robert. So I did a video and I released it that was part of a lab class that I did at Trimble Dimensions. So I promised some people that I would, in the class, that I would create videos on this stuff. Well, that was back in November. Here we are at the end of January and I'm finally getting around to it. I know. So anyways, the video I just did was about fixing common problems, surveying common problems, right? Total station setup, back site, starting out with an autonomous position with GPS. And if you guys watched the video, you saw what I did in that. So this one, I was going to do two different videos because that was the way I did the data sets. I had two different data sets. I was showing how to georeference horizontally and then how to adjust vertically. Okay, so what I've decided to do is we're going to make this one video. So I'm going to show you how to georeference this data horizontally, and then I'm going to show you how to adjust it vertically. Okay. So I've done a little bit of, I've kind of shortcut this a little bit so it's not 2 hours long. First of all, bringing in a TDX data, trying to do this with TDX from an X7 doesn't work out very well. I can't get it to georeference together with the drone data. I've always got scaling issues, and I'm not sure what the deal is. But what I did figure out is I can bring that TDX file in, and I can export that as an LAS, and then bring that in, and then bring in my drone data, and I can georeference those two together. So shortcut is you bring a TDX in, export that out as an LAS, and then bring it back in. Does that make sense? That's what we're going to do. We're going to bring an LAS in that I converted from a TDX. Okay, so you have the LAS file from the TDX will be a scale factor of 1, basically. The drone data, on the other hand, is state plane, right? So it was georeferenced. So how do you merge those two together? We got two different scale factors going on. So how do you merge it together, right? So I'm going to show you how to do that, and we're going to basically merge it together, and then we're going to move it to the state plane position, right? We're going to use scale factor of 1 on both of these, and then we will merge it up to state plane. And I've cheated on this as well because I've already created two CSV points off the drone data to use to georeference. So we'll go through it. I'll show you. So the first thing I need to do is bring in the X7 data. This is the LAS file from the X7, and I want non-georeferenced ground scaled point cloud. Okay, so we're going to bring that in. Okay, so it's giving us a false northing, false easting. We're going to say okay. There is our LAS from our drone. From the X7. Now I'm going to bring in the drone data. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say non-georeference. Even though this flight was done georeference, we're going to say non-georeference because we want both of them to come in as a scale factor of 1. We don't want two different scale factors coming in to create all kinds of problems. Okay, so now we have the drone data in. So I need two common points. So I already know that in both of these I can see this paint stripe. So I'm going to go to CAD. I'm going to create a point because you need to have some points in there and pixels, right? So I'm going to have points and pixels I'm going to use. So I'm going to call this 100, and I'm going to pick right there on the end. I'm going to say add. I'm going to come up here because I know this one's in there. And I'm going to pick. And I'm going to say add. Okay. So I need another one to kind of help with my rotation. And this is not the best. But it's all I could find. So I've got those in there. So now if I look over here at this, and I go up here to point clouds, I go to georeference tool, and I say I want to georeference this X7 data, and it's going to georeference it to the point cloud. Okay, so the first thing is it wants this point right here. There's two ways to do it. I can either type it in or I can choose it right here. So there's my point that I set, and here's my pixel. Boom. So I've got that point 101, which is going to match this pixel. Okay, and we're going to do this other one over here. We're going to try to match up that one with this right here. Okay, we're going to say georeference and see what happens. Okay, let's see if it combined both of them together. So, if you'll notice down here at the bottom, we've got a recompute ball. F4, recompute. Okay, so let's see what we got. If we look at the distance between these 2 points here, between that one and that one, we have about 500. So we're about 500ths off. And I can tell you from experience, this one up here is going to be exactly the same. It's going to be about 500ths off. So within 500ths of being georeferenced. So probably what I would say threw it off the 500ths was probably this corner right here. So if I said from that one to that one is a little bit more. No, actually, yes, that one's 900ths. Okay, so the reason I need this one, try to get something in there, is to get my rotation going. So I don't have really good points to pick from between the drone and the scan, but that's what I have. That's what we're going to work with. Okay, so let's close that. So now we have these in here. So let's look at, since we've got that done, so let's look at this curve. Let's see how close we are with this curve right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close these tools. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to do a polygon frame, and let's look at this curve right here. If I draw a box, double click to close, and I say create region, and I say curb. Okay. So now, true color, and I go into my view filter manager and I look. That's the curve I have. Now then, here's the big question. Let's see how well this fit together. 3D view. As I rotate this around and look, you can see the drone data. Man, that actually fit pretty good, I think. We'll look at it in a cross-section view here in a second. You can see the drone data in here versus the curb data, or the X7 data on the curb. And you can see it doesn't look perfect. One looks, man, if I could get this to go where I want it to. One of them is kind of rolled back, so I'm guessing this point and this point is probably supposed to be the same. So this looks like this needs to move this way. That looks like it needs to move this way. So that was probably that third point. That 900 sits off probably is what has got this messed up. So typically in this situation I would probably go back and redo it, but we're not going to, because I'm doing a video and I'm going to show you how this works. I can give you this data set and you can try to do it better if you want to. Okay, so let's just curiosity here. What have we got between, if I try to look at this from this direction, from there to there, what do we got? Woo, grid distance 14 foot. Apparently I kind of picked it down the curb line a little bit. Okay, that didn't work. That's not going to work that way. We're going to have to do something different here. Okay, so let's go in and let's do the, let's do the point cloud. So I'm going to say plane manager, new, and I'm going to say vertical plane. I'm going to go back to the plan view, move that out of the way, and I'm going to pick between here and down here, and I'm going to say close. Go back to 3D view. Let's go to cutting plane. Let's see what we got going on. Okay, so here's our cutting plane. Man, that actually matched up vertically pretty good. Too bad I got the horizontal jacked up. Wow, that's actually pretty impressive. So let's go to color-coded intensity. I did this a while ago and I had like 2 foot in there. So this is so dead burn close, there's no reason to fix it, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyways. Let's inverse in between. That would be a drone point. I can tell it because it's red. This would be elevation 200. So I'm going to show you how to fix it, even though it's so close, there's no reason to fix it. Okay, so we'll screw it up and then we'll fix it. How's that go? That work? Okay, so you notice you've got 2, I'm going to call them centroids for these point clouds. So we have one for the drone and we have one for the X7. So if I click on that and I go to properties and I look under properties, it gives me all the information. Okay, but I can't change anything right here. But what I can do is come up here and say add a point. So I'm going to add a point, and I'm going to say okay. So now then, if I look, I've got this office-centered point, but the office-centered point comes in as unknown. So I need to change that to control quality, because as an unknown, nothing's going to happen. Okay, so if we look at that, right now we have, and you'll notice everything's in blue, right? So we have a 9566 right there. So if I said the elevation of the point cloud, this is the point cloud for the X7 data, I'm going to say instead of a 95, let's make it a 97, what do you say? So now I need to hit F4 on the computer, okay, which you'll notice it raised that one, see there? This one it didn't. So what I found is you got to click in here to get it to recompute. There it goes. Took it a minute. So now it's recomputed that, and now you can see that it has raised up the point cloud. So you can see it right here as well. You can see we've got 2 point clouds in there. Okay. So if I wanted to bring it down, I just repeat the process, right? So I would click on that. I would look at it and go, okay, here is the office-centered point, right? So it says 97 in there. So if we said 95, and I said F4, and I clicked on this, you can see where it came down, right? So now it is below there. So now I need to raise it up. How much do I need to raise it up? Well, I can always measure and see somewhere in there, somewhere in there. And elevation wise, it says 7/10. So I need to raise it up 7/10. So I'd go over here, I'd click on that, I'd make that at 95.7, and then I'd hit F4, I'd click in here, there you go. So now if I measure it again, I can just highlight right there, and I could click from there to there, and it says 300s. So let's go to our O snaps. Let's turn everything off. Endpoint, vectors free, okay. Now then, let's measure this again. Let's go from that point that point. 3.5 hundredths. Okay. So now, if I come back over here, so the point cloud needs to come down about 3.5 hundredths. So if I said 67, click somewhere, hit F4, click in here, there you go. Now then, let's see here. If we go from there to there, it says 5 thousandths. I'd say it's most close we're going to get it. So, you can see we've got this little shift in here. Now, since we've got a cutting plane in here, we can see how bad we're off. If I go back to the measure tool, and I go from there to there, we can see that I am 24 hundredths. So I'm jacked up 24 hundredths left and right. And that's probably that 10th that we had on that, like that transformer pad or whatever it was we shot. So moral to the story is set control. That's the best thing to do. Set control. If you can't set control, you're going to be messing with this stuff like this. But this lets you know how to make your scan data. If you have two point clouds that don't line up, that's how you can adjust the vertical on them, and that's how you can adjust the horizontal. So if you need to move a point cloud to a particular coordinate, make sure you've got something known that you can move it from. So if you're going to fly something out there, make sure you got a target in the ground, and you know, so that you can figure out where you need to move it to, right? You need the coordinates to move it to. So you're going to take you're going to take 2 coordinates and 2 pixels, and you can move them together. Sound good? Okay, so I'd say this is close enough for what we're doing. Let's get out of here real quick, and we'll get out of the 3D view. I'm going to go back in and turn the whole point cloud back on. There's a whole point cloud. I can turn it back to true color. Okay, so we have these 2 points right here, right? So, like I told you, what I did is I brought in some control. So first of all, let's do this. You would think this alone would work, but it won't work. Change, Mississippi West, finish, okay. You'd think that would be enough to straighten it up. F4, it's not. So what we're going to do, because you'll notice down here it's messed up there, and then if I try to bring in, if I look at, if I go to home and I say satellite, you're going to see this thing does not line up where it's supposed to. Not even close. Yeah, it's not even in, I don't even know where that's at. That's not even in the ballpark. Okay, let's turn the map off for now. Okay, so like I said, I actually already created 2 points a while ago. I brought in the why is it trying to bring the map back in again? Okay, so I need to bring these points in as northern, easting, elevation, code. I'm going to say import, so I'm going to import those 2 points in. Here is our drawing right there. I'm going to say none. I must have somehow or another didn't undo. I'm going to hit F4 just to make sure. We got a flag going on. This point is out of tolerance, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we don't care. So now what we're going to do is I've got these points in here. There they are right there. Let's see how they fit with, if I go into Trimble Maps and I say satellite, so you can see based on the map, I mean, this aerial photograph is not the greatest in the world, but you'll see that it's pretty close. So let's go back into none. Okay, so we got 200 and 201. Let me go down here. We're just going to repeat the process what we did a while ago. Okay, so I'm going to say point cloud, georeference. Okay, so now when we pull down, we look, we've got some options. So I want to move both of them. So here's the Vicksburg Convention Center, the drone, and there's the X7. So I want to move both of these over to where I'm wanting to go. Okay, I had to change the coordinates to make it work, but we're going to go in here. We're going to say 200 is going to equal this pixel right there. We're going to say 201 equals this pixel right here. We're going to say georeference. Now then, we're going to zoom out here and go find. I'm going to say F4. There they are. Okay, so now if I look between those two, what have I got? 400s? What did I have? 5 before between the two? From there to there. Still got 400s, so I'm within 400s of being state plane. So that, my friends, is how you do that. So hopefully this video isn't too long, but I'm combining two into one. So I showed you how to georeference it and get it where you needed it, and then I showed you how to move vertically. Now if both point clouds were, I guess both point clouds were both state plane, you wouldn't have to move it, right? So be careful of scale factors, right? Make sure both of them are on the same scale factor, because the problem with this is the X7 is on 1 and the drone data is on state plane. So trying to put those together doesn't work very well. The software doesn't really know what to do with it. So how's that for you? So that and I mean, we could go in there and do some more cutting planes. It looks more stuff, but you can kind of see what's going on, right? It needs to like twist a little bit more. So I would say that I probably need to look a little closer at right here at whatever I picked. Make sure I pick both of them at the same time, because it's hard because the drone data isn't as dense as the X7 data, so it's kind of hard to find something. Best way to do this would be on the front end is to make sure you got control set. So anyways, okay, that's it. I'm done. Been long enough, right? So, okay. So, this should take care of everything that I said I was going to do at Trimble Dimensions. So, I hope you guys enjoy this. This is the lab class that I tried to do in 1 hour, put all these together. I'm an overachiever. What can I say? Because that just didn't work out as well as I hoped it would. So hopefully you guys see this video and you appreciate it and you understand how all this stuff works. So anyways, God bless, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.